Every year, DJI release a new iteration of their smartphone gimbal system, and this year is no exception, with DJI promising to pull out all the stops with their latest version, the DJI OSMO Mobile 6. The beauty of the OSMO Mobile has always been that you can just use the camera you have on you every day, your smartphone. And for the 6th generation OSMO Mobile, it feels like more of the pieces of the puzzle have connected to give the product that's as practical and portable as it is high-tech. While DJI is not the first phone gimbal with a folding design, it's the simplest that I've ever used to date. Unlike some gimbals with lots of twists and latches, this is one piece. Extend it and you're ready to go. It even powers itself up ready for the smartphone to be attached. And when it comes to attaching your smartphone, a clamp is included within the package which hugs the handset rather nicely, even the larger handsets being supported, after which it magnetically attaches to the gimbal arm with 47.5 newtons of magnetic force. It really is that simple, and the magnetic connection means it's just as easy to remove the handset in a pinch too, after which we simply fold down the gimbal arm, which in turn powers down the entire system. It all works wonderfully well and is easily the simplest system I've ever used to date, meaning it remains small enough to pack away or carry around. With a grey colour scheme, the unit is primarily made of plastic, but even so it still maintains a high quality and feels very robust in the hand, as well as remaining light by gimbal standards. The hand grip feels solid and nicely weighted, and is slightly tilted forward, making it more ergonomically comfortable to hold and operate due to its more natural position. Nevertheless, at the base, alongside a wrist strap attachment point, is a single tripod thread used to attach the included tripod, which screws straight into place, and once secure, provides a stable base for the entire unit to freestand, perfect for hands-free operation using ActiveTrack for instance, which we'll come back to shortly. Above all else, it's also great for two-handed operation too. The main controls though are conveniently placed by the operator's thumb, nothing new there, and include a joystick for manual control over the phone's direction, alongside a shutter button, and a switch button just below for switching between front and rear cameras, as well as portrait and landscape orientation. Another big addition with the OSMO Mobile 6 is the new display, which has a few indicator lights to quickly get you information during your shoot. On the left is a battery level indicator and a connection indicator. Next to that you have 4 mode indicators to toggle between different gimbal modes using the physical button on the right side, a welcome addition that works wonderfully well. Accompanying these on the left side of the unit and easily reachable by the operator's thumb is the new side wheel, controlling zoom and focus while you shoot and making it easier than ever to adjust between both. On the opposite side, a single USB-C port used to charge the built-in 1000 mAh battery. That battery is not removable, but a 1.5 hour full charge will provide over 6 hours of usage, so easily enough to get you through a day's shooting. While finally, around the front is a standard trigger button, used for locking different axes as well as recentering the gimbal quick and easy. Oh, and DJI have also managed to throw in an extendable design too, especially handy for those higher or lower perspective shots. In short, from a design point of view, DJI has sort of reinvented the gimbal somewhat, and it all seems to work really well. Everything is easy enough to understand that a novice filmmaker could pick up the OSMO Mobile 6 and get right to filming, while pros will appreciate the various levels of control they have over the camera's movement and stabilization. A lovely overall design. So with the gimbal arm extended, powered up, and with a smartphone clamped and attached into place, the unit will instantly calibrate itself and be ready for use, stabilizing across all 3 axes as per normal. And as DJI are market leaders with gimbal technology, I have no doubt this will work exceptionally well in stabilizing your captured footage, although I did find the small range of motion a little limiting, mostly due to that folding design. So that's only around 190 degrees on the pan axis, only 65 degrees on the tilt, which I find even more limiting with no flashlight mode for instance, and when in the spin shot mode we get more on the roll axis, 275 degrees to be exact, but still not a full 360 though. Nevertheless, to use the DJI OSMO Mobile 6, you'll need to have the DJI Mimo app on your phone, which connects to the gimbal via Bluetooth 5.1. It's the same app used with DJI's other devices, so it's pretty polished and serves up a number of special camera moves. It also acts as a camera app which you can use to capture video and photo content, although while you can use other camera apps, even the default phone camera app, it's not recommended since you'll use a ton of functionality. The app also serves to unlock gimbal features that your phone simply can't pull off on its own. The switch button, for instance. Press once to switch between front and rear facing cameras. Press twice to switch between landscape and portrait shooting modes. Or 3 times to quickly switch between photo or video capture. All nice and easy. The shutter button works perfectly well starting and stopping capture, while the mode button can be used to switch between the different available gimbal modes, locking and unlocking different axes depending upon how you wish to shoot and the shooting scenario. All seamless and working wonderfully well, while the joystick can of course be used for some finer gimbal adjustments. If you do get in a muddle, a quick double tap of the trigger button quickly recenters the gimbal, or press and hold to lock all axes, making sure the handset remains facing in one fixed position while you move. The same trigger also quickly engages ActiveTrack, useful for locking onto your subject and smoothly following, which we'll come back to in just a moment. Finally, we have that side scroll wheel, which I personally find incredibly handy. By default, it controls your camera zoom, allowing you the ability to get close into your subject, while a press of the wheel switches across to the focus mode, allowing you complete manual control of your focus. It works really well, and considering it's right by the operator's thumb, using it becomes a comfortable and seamless experience. All in all, the connection between gimbal and app is solid, no issues there at all. As controls go, using the physical buttons is as reliable and as simple as you could hope for. Despite being only connected by Bluetooth, the response time is good too. There's no real lag or serious delay. The entire system really is a joy to use. When it comes to performance, the Osmo Mobile 6's stabilization is very impressive, and despite improvements in smartphone electronic and optical stabilization since its predecessor, it's still a big step up in terms of quality of the footage you can produce. Yes, smartphones incorporate excellent stabilization by default now, so most may not even need a gimbal in the first instance. But the benefit of a gimbal is the combination of stabilization with camera moves, whether these are automated using features like ActiveTrack and time lapses, or done manually using the thumbstick. There are some shots that are just too difficult trying to use a smartphone without a gimbal, and that's where a device like the Osmo Mobile 6 comes in incredibly handy. ActiveTrack in particular works really well. Although we've seen this done before, it still impresses me every time I use it, and it worked perfectly well in tracking every time. A great feature, albeit with that limited range of motion due to the amount of rotation provided by each axis. The main issue with the footage captured is that the DJI Mimo app doesn't seem quite as good as native phone apps when it comes to video quality, especially on Android devices. In challenging lighting, I found if I flicked to the phone's own camera app, it worked better in terms of quality of the shot, although that means no AI tracking or other gimbal features of course, so it's either one or the other. Otherwise though, when it comes down to raw gimbal performance, that seems pretty much on point, but the range of motion just seems very limiting. The handle does have some tilt, but if you're looking to shoot landscape footage, which most generally will, I found I regularly hit the limits of the gimbal motors, particularly the tilt, quite often, which can get rather frustrating. All in all, it seems DJI has held a firm grip on the consumer smartphone gimbal market, and while there are certainly other notable companies out there, no one offers the combination of both the hardware and software quality of DJI. As it stands, if you do decide you need a gimbal, the Osmo Mobile 6 offers everything we saw with the predecessor and then throws in a bunch of new features. The side wheel adds a new layer of usefulness and professional air to the gimbal, while the display makes operating the device easier than ever. Above all else, ActiveTrack continues to get more powerful and continues to outpace the competition by a large margin, although the system is let down with its range of motion, which I found rather limiting. Even though DJI didn't raise the price of the gimbal this year, it's still rather expensive for a smartphone gimbal, and cheaper options are certainly widely available. And that's if you even need one in the first instance. If you do, the Zhiyun Smooth 5, albeit slightly more expensive, incorporates extra features and controls on the gimbal itself that pro users may find even more appealing, especially when it comes to shooting more cinematic style capture with higher range of motion too. For everyone else, if you're into portrait mode selfie shooting, think TikTok style content here, the gimbal is pretty good, But if you're looking to shoot landscape cinematic style video, then the range of motion, particularly the tilt, is just too limiting to be of any real use, and you'll most likely want to look elsewhere, which is a shame because otherwise it's a solid gimbal.